Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Kristen here. Today I'm going to give you a spoiler-free review of Heartless.
To a woman so heartless, how could you be so heartless?
Heartless is a young adult fantasy by Marissa Meyer. If you don't know, Heartless is actually not a retelling. I've heard it referred to that a lot, but it's the origin story for the Queen of Hearts as imagined by Marissa Meyer, inspired by characters from Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. The only big character really missing here from this story is Alice, of course. Before I give you my review, which will be spoiler-free, let me just share with you that I had this gorgeous black and red copy that I pre-ordered from Amazon, and then I received this beautiful white and red copy in the Owl Crate box for November, but I ended up reading neither one of these versions of the book because I listened to the audiobook. If you've never listened to a Marissa Meyer book on audiobook, her narrator has always been Rebecca Solar, and she is phenomenal for the Lunar Chronicle series. So when I saw that she was going to also narrate Heartless, I knew that I had to do this one in audio, and she did not disappoint. She nailed all of the different characters' voices. I especially love her voice for Hatter and for Cheshire, and she was just amazing. And she just handled all of the emotional things that happened in the book perfectly. So if you're into audiobooks and you haven't read Heartless yet, I highly recommend checking out the audiobook for that one. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, I am trying to reach a goal of 500 subscribers, and I would really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button and help me meet that goal. If you enjoy the video at the end, give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment to let me know. Now, let's talk about Heartless. So the plot for this book is Catherine, our main character, lives in the land of hearts, and she is a teenage girl for this story. She has accidentally caught the eye of the king with her amazing baking skills, and she discovers that he plans on proposing marriage to her. Catherine does not want to be the queen. She wants to live her own life and open a bakery with her best friend and maid, Marianne. And then Cath meets Jest, and he is the new court joker in town, and he is handsome and mysterious and charming. And so the main plot of this story is about Catherine trying to figure out how to get out of marrying the king and how to admit her feelings about Jest to her parents and how to have the career she wants as a baker. And there's also this really smart and clever secondary plot involving another Lewis Carroll creation, and that is the Jabberwock. And I really loved the way that the Jabberwock story was woven into the whole book and eventually became part of the main plot of the story. I knew I was going to love Heartless when I saw that it was the origin story for the Queen of Hearts because I loved Fairest, which is the novella about the origin story for Queen Lavanna, who, if you don't know, is the villain in the Lunar Chronicle series, also by Marissa Meyer. And the way that she handled Lavanna's backstory, making me really feel a connection to her and understanding her transformation from a young innocent girl to a villain, was amazing. When I saw that she was going to write a similar story for the Queen of Hearts, I knew that I had to read it, and I knew that it would be amazing. So honestly, I had a little bit of a weird start. It took me about 50 to 100 pages to really get into the story. We're kind of dropped into the land of hearts like Alice in the original Alice in Wonderland story, and it's very confusing and fantastical and whimsical, and there's a lot of crazy, silly stuff happening, and it just took me a little bit to feel comfortable in the world. But once I settled into the land of hearts and really got into the story, I was so hooked. Catherine is a little bit of a complicated main character because she is a very likable character, but there are moments sprinkled throughout the story where I really did not agree with her decisions and where I found her reactions to things a little bit annoying. And that's okay because she's supposed to be likable and we're supposed to understand where she's coming from, but we also need to understand that she's eventually going to become the Queen of Hearts, and you have to kind of see that coming a little bit throughout the story. And I feel like that was done really, really well while still making me like Catherine as a whole. Catherine was definitely a little bit of a naive character though. She really needed to just stand up to her parents and tell them she wasn't going to marry the king, or she just needed to accept that it was going to happen and make peace with it. She didn't really have a great plan for getting out of marrying the king at all. She was just determined that it wasn't going to happen. I did love Jest. I thought he was a great love interest for Catherine. He was very straightforward. You could see what Catherine saw in him. He was very mysterious, and he was a lot more practical than Catherine. I think he understood the position that she was in and what was going to happen a lot better than she did. My favorite character in the book though was definitely Hatter. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that he is based on the Mad Hatter. He was Jest's best friend in the book, and he was also just as mysterious as Jest, and he didn't really care for Catherine very much. He kind of had a sly and cunning slant on everything he said to her in the story, and I really enjoy it every time he popped up. I really wish that he would get his own story so we could learn a little bit more about him because I loved him. I got really, really drawn into this story. I was just sucked into Catherine and Jest's whirlwind romance and Hatter's story and the side plot with the Jabberwock and everything all meshed together. I was just so invested in this book. Of course, going into this story, I knew that events were going to take place here that were going to end with Catherine becoming the Queen of Hearts, or we were going to end with events that I knew would eventually lead to her becoming the Queen of Hearts. And so because of that, I feel like parts of this are a little bit predictable. I definitely felt heartbroken, and it was a bit gut-wrenching gut-wrenching, but at the same time, the ending also kind of made me go like, yeah. It's definitely difficult where you know where a story is going in the end, and you get so lost in the adventure that you kind of forget that along the way for a little bit. Despite that, I highly recommend Heartless by Marissa Meyer. If you like Alice in Wonderland, you will really enjoy seeing the way Marissa Meyer handles all of those Wonderland characters in Heartless and getting to see what they were all like years before Alice arrived there. And Catherine and Just and Hatter's story is just really incredible, so definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. And that's it. Those are my thoughts on Heartless. If you have read the book, let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye.
How could you be so heartless?